The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRCMedia, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
This week in FRCMedia News, Fall River is set for its 4th of July activities tomorrow on the waterfront. We have the details. City youth can get a free lunch weekdays across Fall River. And 4 organizations received grants to provide community support activities in the Flint neighborhood. All this and more coming up. It's Thursday, July 3rd, 2025. This is FRCMedia News. I'm Keith Tebow. On this holiday week, Fall River is preparing for its annual free 4th of July event across 3 parks along the waterfront. The festivities will begin at 5 p.m. at Heritage State Park, the Thomas Norton City Pier, and Veterans Memorial Bicentennial Park. Each site will host musical entertainment and offer a variety of food options. Fireworks off the Taunton River will begin at approximately 9 p.m. With construction on Duval Street, traffic patterns will be impacted and residents are being asked to park away from the area. Once the Battleship Cove parking lot is filled, Central Street West will be closed to all traffic. Visitors are being asked to park at the Pearl Street Garage downtown, the lot at the Executive Plaza at the bottom of President Avenue, the Narrow Center lot on Anawan Street, and the Karam Management lot at 10 North Main Street. Shuttles will be available from the Pearl Street Garage and the Karam lot. Battleship Cove is the recipient of over $4,000 in grant funds to go toward maintenance of the Joseph P. Kennedy Jr. destroyer.
Any ship of this nature, when they were in service, they're constantly moving around. They shed the water. They had, hundreds and hundreds of crew members on board that could take care of things. Now the ships are sitting static. Water collects, and it causes all sorts of problems with metal corrosion. So one little pinhole starts, and it gets bigger and bigger. And so now we've had the capability lately with all the money that we've raised individually and collectively from people like Tin Can Sailors. We have the ability to cut out those pieces of deck and replace it. We have some really good metal fabricators that work with us, and they're putting things back. Not only are they doing it in a very professional form, but they're doing it historically accurate too. So we make sure that whatever goes out comes back in again the way it was whenever practical.
The grant was awarded by Tin Can Sailors, the National Association of Destroyer Veterans. The Somerset-based national organization has about 9,000 members focused on veterans stationed on destroyers nationwide and supporting those vessels.
We have 3 main focuses. The first is, of course, the destroyer sailors. Part of our purpose is to bring them together for camaraderie, for sea stories, that sort of thing. The second part is preserving destroyer sailors' history. So we have an archive of personal diaries and all sorts of memorabilia associated with destroyers and destroyer sailors. And the third part is supporting the 10 destroyer museum ships in the U.S., of which Joseph P. Kennedy Jr. is one.
The Kennedy will be celebrating its 80th anniversary later this month with a special event being held on July 25th and 26th.
She was built in 1945 in Quincy, Massachusetts at the Bethlehem Steel Shipyard where Kilroy, the famous Kilroy, was here. Kilroy was a inspector there when Kennedy was actually there, in Massachusetts, of course. But anyway, the event is a celebration in honor of Joseph P. Kennedy Jr. for 80 years as she survived and has represented the United States of America. It's also a celebration of all the Gearing-class destroyers, which is the type that she is. Mainly, there was 98 Gearing-class destroyers of the class. She's the last one in a U.S. Navy configuration. Every other one went overseas or still is overseas as a museum and was modified quite a bit. So we're bringing back all the families, the crew members, their grandkids, veterans of all the other ships, because we're honoring all 98, not just Kennedy. Kennedy's just a central point for visitation and showing their families what it was like to be on a Gearing-class destroyer during the 1960s and early 70s Cold War period.
The Kennedys served during both the Korean and Vietnam Wars and was also part of the naval blockade of Cuba during the Cuban Missile Crisis of 1962. Following a year-long investigation, the Diocese of Fall River and Bishop Edgar Acuna have released their conclusion of the case involving allegations of sexual misconduct by former St. Michael's and St. Joseph's pastor, Father Jay Mello. Father Mello was placed on administrative leave in June of 2024 over those allegations. A diocesan ministerial review board evaluated the evidence and made recommendations to the bishop, who determined that, quote, some, though not all, of the allegations were credible, and that Father Mello abused his position of power as a priest and engaged in sexual misconduct with 2 parishioners he was counseling. None of the alleged sexual misconduct allegations included minors. Father Mello will not return to St. Michael's or St. Joseph parishes and remains restricted from priestly ministry. The state legislature on Monday gave its final approval to a $61 billion spending plan for FY 2026. It's the first time in nearly 10 years the legislature completed its budget deliberations before the beginning of the new fiscal year. Fall River State Senator Michael Rodrigues, chair of the budget-writing Senate Ways and Means Committee, says Fall River will once again benefit greatly by the resources it receives from the spending plan.
First and foremost, we fully funded the so-called Student Opportunity Act, the Chapter 70 money. City of Fall River stands to gain about $260 million in support for their K-12 school system, amongst the highest of any community in the state. City of Fall River also will look to secure over $1 million for public safety staffing grant, probably closer to $1.3 million for our police department, for our fire department, in direct support for staffing. There are sundry of dollars throughout. We are using so-called fair share money, the millionaire's tax money. We're able to provide fare-free regional transit, CERTA, throughout the South Coast. They've seen a spike in participation in ridership on CERTA. The MBTA, of which now the Fall River, New Bedford, South Coast Rail is a part of the MBTA, has gotten close to $1 billion in operating subsidies in order to keep the fares for riding between here and Boston affordable, and to keep the service running smoothly and actually improve the service.
The budget is nearly $1 billion less than the one proposed by Governor Maura Healey, who will have until the end of next week to approve or make adjustments to the new budget. The Fall River unemployment rate in May dropped compared to April. The jobless rate sits at 6.8%, down from 7% in April. The rate 1 year ago in May was at 5%. The unemployment rate in Fall River suburbs and regional gateway cities all rose in May. The Massachusetts unemployment rate rose 0.2% to 4.8%. For nearly 30 years, Greater Fall River Recreation has sponsored a summer lunch program across Fall River, providing kids under the age of 18 a free meal at locations across the city.
We are at 13 open sites this year throughout the entire city. The program runs from 11 to 3, and at each of the sites we serve lunches for an hour, either between 11:45 and 12:45 or 12 to 1. We also provide some activities for the children in order for them to enjoy their day at the park or at some of the housing developments. There is also free activities that go along with the free summer lunch. The program runs from June 30th to August 22nd. The only day that we are closed will be July 4th.
Ms. Gerling says the program has evolved in recent years, but still connects kids with nutritious food.
Obviously, during the pandemic, the program changed drastically. It was just a grab and go, and there were no activities. And we're starting to see more and more kids coming into the parks and recognizing that it's okay for them to be at their local park or at their housing development, enjoying a free lunch and actually doing some activities with their friends and maybe some new people that they meet. But overall, I think year after year, there's always a need. I mean, we are taking the place pretty much of the school year lunch program, we don't want any gaps during the summer. We want to make sure that the kids get their free meal every day.
The Fall River Housing Authority also hosts the summer lunch program at 5 housing developments, continuing a 20-year partnership with Greater Fall River Recreation.
We have, an excellent attendance. As you know, many of the parks too are near our developments and our properties. And again, as you can kind of liken it to the lunch programs at schools and whatnot. This also provides a good lunch for our kids through the summer, and also camaraderie, activities, socialization, things that are invaluable. Programs like this are worth their weight in gold, quite frankly. And again, we can't express our gratitude enough. Such a benefit to our kids, and again, the families overall at our family developments.
The program is funded through a grant from the U.S. Department of Agriculture and the Massachusetts Department of Elementary and Secondary Education. Support is also provided by the City of Fall River and the Fall River School Department. What started as a way to engage the community following the pandemic, the Narrow Center for the Arts, the City of Fall River, and Bay Coast Bank is launching the 5th annual Summer Evenings in the Park concert series beginning next Wednesday evening.
We have found that this Summer Evenings in the Park event, which is in its 5th year, has really accomplished that. It's really an event where so many people in the neighborhood, multi-ethnic, multilingual, black, brown, white, you name it, people come from all over the neighborhoods to get together to enjoy great music, great art, and great food. And it really takes a village to put these events on, and I don't mean to sound, that's a hokey line, we've heard it a million times, but Bristol County Savings Bank has been with us since our first year. This is their 5th year sponsoring the event. And these events cost money. Again, I just want to go over what happens. So we got music, we have hot dogs and hamburgers, we have free ice cream for the kids and the adults. And every family, or mostly every family, goes home with a bag of groceries. Everything is done in a very, I want to say, tasteful way. I think people really enjoy this. They bring their families. And all these events, I think my numbers tell me that we're averaging about 250 people events. So I think we've had about almost 10,000 people have come to these events over the last 5 years. And again, not a lot of advertising. It's a word of mouth kind of thing. And I really think it's something that's been great for Fall River.
Mayor Paul Coogan and the Fall River Community Development Agency awarded 4 mini grants to local organizations looking to enhance the quality of life in the Flint neighborhood. The Love Your Block program is funded by the Bloomberg Center for Innovation at Johns Hopkins University. The recipients are the Bristol Black Collective, Health First Family Care Center, YACOR, and the Spectrum Empowerment Project.
Love Your Block addresses unmet challenges by providing fast-track services that bring communities together and build trust between residents and City Hall. Love Your Block empowers residents by providing small grants that support volunteer-fueled solutions developed by communities, activating alleyways and improving deteriorating spaces. Installing art are just a few of the Love Your Block programs that are going to be taking place in our Flint community within the City of Fall River. And how it works. Love Your Block supports neighborhood improvements through funds and coaching to residents, businesses, and organizations. Projects funded under this program target deteriorating spaces, address community concerns, and enhance neighborhood pride.
We'll have more FRC Media News right after this.
Here are some job descriptions on the latest hot jobs list from the Mass Hire Fall River Career Center. EMT LPN, Biomat USA, located at 370 Rhode Island Avenue, seeks a full-time EMT LPN, responsible for performing physical examinations and establish medical history to determine donor suitability. Job number 227-01458. Data Analyst, Family Service Association, located at 151 Rock Street, is looking for a full-time data analyst to perform various operational data maintenance and analysis summaries. Job number 226-96221. Funeral Services Assistant, Cherry Place Funeral Home of Waring Sullivan, located at 178 Winter Street, is seeking a full-time funeral services assistant responsible for providing clerical and administrative assistance, supporting funeral operations. Job number 226-97436. Sewing Machine Operator, Precision Sportswear, located at 54 Front Street, is looking for a full-time sewing machine operator. For more information, call 508-674-3034. Whirlpool Corporation, located at 88 Current Road, has an immediate need for the following full and part-time positions. Senior Analyst Engineering, job number 226-44984. Materials Planner, job number 226-97452. For more information about these or other positions, visit Mass Hire JobQuest at jobquest.dcs.eol.mass.gov or call the Mass Hire Fall River Career Center at 508-730-5000.
It's been a couple of weeks since we checked in on the latest real estate and economic development news with our friends Fall River Development News and Kevin Lawrence. And Kevin joins us right now. Kevin, how are you this week?
Very well. Happy to be here again, Keith.
All right. This week we had a couple of items on the agenda. There are actually, I guess, some updates.
Yes.
We talked about this, I think, just a few weeks ago about how there was movement to build some apartments in the former Cherry and Webb building in downtown Fall River. Well, last week, there was a meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals, and that's been clarified a bit. What's going to happen down there now?
Yeah, the Fall River ZBA gave the green light to Little Tiger Capital LLC, and they have an agreement to transform the Cherry and Webb building on South Main Street, a prime piece of real estate in the heart of downtown, into luxury market rate apartments. Luxury on South Main Street is the headline I used on Fall River Development News. The plans include some property improvements that will feature a furnished rooftop deck overlooking the water, a spa, a sauna, pet washing stations, media labs, and a movie theater for the tenants. They're looking to put 70 residential market rate apartments into the Cherry and Webb building. They still want to retain the commercial spaces on the first level. So that's the thing that drew a lot of attention at the zoning board meeting was a request to put some residential apartments on the first level, and the zoning board eventually compromised and allowed some residential units to go on the ground level, but the commercial storefronts that face South Main Street need to remain. So there can't be any residential spaces facing South Main Street in downtown Fall River with this new proposal.
Yeah, I know there was also a discussion because 70 apartments, that's a lot, and that's a lot of parking that's needed. There was also some talk about how that would be handled as well, correct?
Yeah, they were looking for 173 parking spaces. The proposal to reduce the parking requirement for residential use to a 1-to-1 ratio is debated, with the board ultimately deciding to approve a special permit conditional upon securing 70 parking spaces within a 2,000 square foot radius of the building. Parking would be utilized right behind the building at the Pearl Street parking garage, but of course the top level of that garage has been closed for quite some time right now because of disrepair. So the city needs to really get on that and get that fixed so parking can be provided for these new residential apartments proposed for South Main Street.
Any idea on timeline and when these may come to fruition?
Within the next couple of years, they'd like to have this completed.
And I know those who are in the housing community here in Fall River will look at the word luxury, like you posted on your Facebook page, and sort of roll their eyes because Fall River needs a lot of more affordable housing, and this is definitely in the opposite direction. So we'll see what happens on that. No doubt
It'll
about it.
definitely create some foot traffic downtown to help the businesses that still remain there.
Yeah, so we'll have to wait and see how that shakes out. The other update we have is with O'Connell, the O'Connell Boatyard. They've been looking for some help and doing some outside entertainment on their property, and that also has some update as well.
I live in the North End, and this is quite exciting because we don't have a lot of waterfront activity in the North End of the city. It's primarily near Heritage State Park, Point Gloria, that area near Battleship Cove. So the zoning board made some news in the last few days, granting a special permit to Kara O'Connell, who operates the O'Connell Boatyard at 180 River Street in the city's North End. It was tabled due to some issues with the proposal. The new proposal included a reduction in capacity from 200 to 150 patrons and a detailed parking plan. This is a new entertainment venue and seasonal bar she is proposing. It was approved by the zoning board. The bar and entertainment space will be open 7 days a week from 11:30 a.m. to 10 p.m. from May 15th through October 31st. And Kara O'Connell emphasized the project's potential for local economic development and community engagement. And she also said, this is quite exciting as well, Blount Foods is seeking to locate their food truck on the property from May 15th through October 31st at her new seasonal bar and entertainment venue. The board also expressed concerns about the traffic and alcohol service management and regarding some entrance to the seasonal bar. The proposal did receive favorable feedback after all was said and done. She addressed those concerns, and the board approved the petition with conditions related to parking and emergency access. So it's good to go. And I assume she's going to try to open this thing up at least by the end of the summer, and she is allowed to go through October 31st at this new space at the O'Connell Boatyard in Fall River.
And the other licensing issues have been worked out as well in terms of alcohol and the like, or they already have something?
Yes.
Yeah. All right, good stuff happening in Fall River. Please find out more good stuff about economic development and real estate news by visiting Kevin's site on Facebook, Fall River Development News. Give it a like, give it a follow, and Kevin, we'll talk again next week. Thanks.
Thank you, Keith.
Welcome to Hot Dogs and Cool Cats. Today with us we have Laughlin. He is a 6-year-old, roughly about 6-year-old terrier mix. He is up for adoption now. He ended up in our care because he was found as a stray. He's some kind of a terrier mix. He's very light. He is really good. He likes to be brushed, so he doesn't mind. You can brush him out. He loves to go for walks. He loves to walk whether it's raining or sunshine. He likes to roll around in the grass. For kids, he can go with any kids 12 and up, just because we don't have a really background history, but he is so easygoing and he's always happy and sweet. So if you want to come down and meet Laughlin, you can call Forever Paws Animal Shelter to make an appointment to come see him.
Today we have Amber, an 8-year-old short hair. She's a very, very sweet girl, very friendly, very affectionate, as you can see. Being an older girl, you'd think she'd be slower, less active, but not really. She loves to play, she loves to eat, she loves to be with people. She's a very good, family cat. She's another story where unfortunately her owner had passed, so she ended up being surrendered to us. But she's acclimated perfectly fine. She warmed up to staff immediately, and she's been great. Our vet did say that she may need to be on artificial tears for the rest of her life, just because she has kind of a chronic dry eye. But that's the worst of her issues. Other than that, she's a normal, healthy cat. Very sweet, very active. We could see her in just about any home. She has no restrictions. We think she'd be good with kids. So if you'd like to come and meet Amber, come down to 300 Littlewood Street at Fall River, Massachusetts, and meet Amber today.
That's all for this week's edition of FRC Media News. Please visit our website, frmedia.org, for more news and local information. FRC Media News airs Thursdays at 6 p.m. and Fridays at 5:30 p.m. on Channel 95 and the Fall River HD channel located on Channel 1072. For all of us here at FRC Media News, I'm Keith Tebow. Enjoy the 4th of July celebration in Fall River and have a great weekend. We'll see you next Thursday.